Baby, if a facial expression could file for legal separation, Papoose's face in that Mother's Day suite would already be sitting in front of a judge asking for a clean break, a name change, and a restraining order against every camera in the room. Because what that man's face did on Mother's Day weekend 2026 was not a mood, it was not a bad angle, and it definitely was not exhaustion from a long flight. It was a confession. A quiet, unblinking, high-definition confession broadcast in front of millions of viewers who were only supposed to be watching a matching outfit photo op. And by the time we finish walking through what actually happened in that suite, honey, you're going to understand why Papoose's face did more damage to the Claressa Shields fantasy in one night than 18 months of Remy Ma silence, Mama Mitchell silence, and unfinalized divorce paperwork combined. Because there are two stories running side by side right now. There is the one Claressa Shields has been posting on her feed for a year and a half. And there is the one Papoose's face told in that suite in one single evening. And they are not the same story. They have never been the same story. And when we get to the tag order breakdown later in this video, and I promise you we are getting there, receipt by receipt, you are going to see exactly why the internet turned into a forensics lab the second that suite footage hit the timeline. This is not a love story anymore, honey. This is a hostage negotiation with a matching outfit budget. And Mama Mitchell, sitting in her own silence like a judge who has already written the verdict, is the one person in this entire ecosystem who understood the assignment before anybody else did. Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit like, and subscribe. Let's get into it. Now let me set the stage properly. Because if you have been anywhere near hip-hop internet in the last 18 months, you already know the outline of this saga. But you might not know just how deep the roots go. Claressa Shields, the decorated Olympic gold medalist and undisputed world champion boxer, and Papoose, the Brooklyn lyricist who spent 15 years married to Remy Ma in one of the most publicly celebrated relationships hip-hop has ever produced, have been at the center of the messiest, most surveilled, most emotionally loaded relationship storyline the culture has witnessed in years. And this storyline did not begin with a soft launch, honey. It did not begin with a cute Instagram carousel or a mysterious blurry handhold at a restaurant. It began with receipts, actual text message receipts, publicly released by Remy Ma herself in late 2024, showing that Papoose was in communication with Claressa Shields while he was still legally married, still tattooed with Remy's name, and still living inside the home they built together across a decade and a half of marriage. That is the foundation this entire relationship was constructed on. Not a meet-cute, not a slow burn, a leaked text thread, and every single moment that has unfolded since. Every matching outfit, every coordinated caption, every synchronized suite appearance has been Claressa Shields attempting to build a fairy tale on top of a foundation the internet already knows was cracked before the first brick was ever laid. The stakes here are not small. This is not two random people navigating a private situation. This is a world champion athlete with brand deals, endorsement contracts, and a legacy in a sport that took decades to give women a fair shake, trading championship coverage for relationship optics. This is a beloved hip-hop lyricist walking around with his first wife's name still tattooed on his skin, while his second public partner posts family captions with his sisters. This is a mother, Mama Mitchell, watching her son navigate a divorce that has not been finalized on public record, while the new woman attaches herself to 18 straight months of family holidays. And this is Remy Ma, still legally his wife, still the mother of the household he built, sitting in the most powerful silence anybody has ever executed in hip-hop, letting the entire narrative unravel without lifting a single finger to help it along. Financially, this is career-altering territory. Culturally, this is legacy territory. Reputationally, this is the kind of storyline that follows a woman into every fight promotion, every brand deal, every historical retrospective for the rest of her career. And the question sitting in the middle of all of it, the question the entire internet is waiting to see answered, is one nobody has been able to shake loose yet. Did Claressa Shields walk into a family that welcomed her? Or did she walk into a family that has been quietly documenting their refusal to welcome her for 18 months and counting? Let's start with what everybody could see with their own two eyes, because the surface evidence alone would be enough to sink most storylines before we ever got to the deeper layers. Piece of evidence number 1, the suite footage itself. On Mother's Day weekend 2026, Claressa Shields reportedly walked away from confirmed professional obligations in Atlanta. Boxing commitments, brand appearances, sponsor obligations, the kind of contractual duties most world champion athletes would not abandon under any normal circumstance, because those contracts pay the bills that keep the championship lifestyle running. And baby, according to publicly circulated reports. She left every single one of them behind and boarded a flight to New York to walk into a concert suite that was already organized as a Mother's Day celebration for Papoose's biological family. His actual mother, his actual sisters, women who share his last name and his DNA. Women who have been showing up for him since long before there was ever a camera crew or a coordinated caption strategy in the picture. And Claressa Shields walked into that room front and center, matching outfit already on, camera phone already recording, reels already queued in the drafts folder, performing belonging in high definition for an audience of millions. Piece of evidence number 2. The reels and posts that dropped within hours of that sweet emptying out. Instagram carousel, TikTok clips, Twitter reposts, all coordinated, all time-stamped within a tight release window that looked less like a spontaneous family memory and more like an album rollout. And in one of those posts, Claressa Shields captioned the images with language celebrating spending Mother's Day with her mother and her sisters. Honey, the women in that carousel were not her biological sisters. Those were Papoose's biological sisters, his blood, his family. And she publicly installed herself into a familial title she has not officially earned by any legal, cultural, or documented standard. Piece of evidence number 3. The tag order on Papoose's own Mother's Day post. Papoose has reportedly posted essentially the same Mother's Day tribute for years. Same energy, same devotion, same reserved space for the women who raised him. But this year, surgically altered. Claressa Shields was tagged first, ahead of biological sisters. Ahead of the woman who literally birthed him. First tag, honey. In the language of digital culture, the first tag is never accidental. It is a claim. It is a statement. And on the single most emotionally loaded family day of a calendar, somebody made that claim. Piece of evidence number 4. Papoose's face throughout every clip that leaked. And this, baby, is where the internet went into forensic mode within hours. Because Papoose in those clips did not look like a man in love. He looked like a man serving out a scheduled appearance. Distant, tired, more engaged with his plate of food than with the woman sitting beside him. The comment sections filled up in real time, with viewers zooming in on every micro-expression, every awkward pause, every second where his body language said one thing while the caption said another. And I want you to sit with this contrast for a moment, because it is devastating. When Papoose used to appear next to Remy, that man was luminous. Present, proud, every tooth visible when he smiled. His body broadcast one word across every red carpet and every event photo, and that word was mine. And in that Mother's Day suite, matching outfit and all, that word was nowhere to be found. A man who is genuinely proud of the woman standing next to him does not need to be coached into smiling. He just does it. And in every clip that circulated from that weekend, Papoose did not smile once in the way that actually counts for anything. Piece of evidence number 5, because this pot is not close to done pouring. The release strategy itself. That entire weekend rolled out with a tightness of coordination that looked less like family and more like a marketing campaign. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all synchronized within a narrow window. Angles pre-scouted. Captions pre-drafted. Post timing pre-locked. Real family moments do not roll out on synchronized release calendars, honey. Real family moments do not require PR tier coordination. And the very fact that Mother's Day weekend 2026 unfolded like an album drop is itself the loudest piece of surface evidence in this entire story. Because when a moment is real, it does not need to be manufactured. And when a moment is manufactured, the internet can smell it from a hemisphere away. And oh, do I have more for you tonight, baby? Because if you thought the surface footage was damning, wait until we get into what the people around Papoose have been doing quietly behind the scenes. The stands in the Claressa Shields camp are really, truly, deeply not going to enjoy this next section, and I need you to buckle in for it, because we are about to walk into the follow list receipts, the family loyalty patterns, and the one specific piece of insider evidence that changes the entire complexion of this story. If you thought Papoose's face was the loudest thing in that suite, honey, you have not seen what his sisters have been doing on Instagram for 18 straight months. Layer 2, baby. Cultural evidence. The stuff that lives just beneath the surface, in the comment sections, in the follow lists, in the small choices that people who actually know these families are making publicly for anyone with 2 eyes and a phone to see. Cultural evidence piece number 1. Mama Mitchell's follow list. According to observers who have been tracking this saga since day one, Mama Mitchell reportedly still follows Remy Ma across major social platforms. Every single one of them. She has not, according to those same observers, publicly followed Claressa Shields on any of them. And in the age of algorithmic tracking, the follow list is not just a follow list. It is a public declaration of allegiance, encoded in metadata that anybody can screenshot. Because in this culture, honey, you do not accidentally not follow the woman your son is publicly parading around for 18 months. You do not accidentally keep following the woman he is legally still married to. Those choices are choices. They are made deliberately, they are maintained deliberately, and they broadcast a message every day the internet cares to check. Cultural evidence piece number 2, the sisters. Papoose's biological sisters, the same women Claressa Shields captioned herself alongside on Mother's Day weekend, have reportedly shown similar patterns. Some still follow Remy Ma. Some have not followed Claressa Shields at all. And when the internet started auditing these patterns after the Mother's Day carousel dropped, the comment sections detonated in real time. Because the receipts were sitting in plain sight the entire time. The women in that family have quietly kept their loyalties visible in the one place the internet cannot fake. The following list. The receipt that never lies. Cultural evidence piece number 3, Remy Ma's response, which is that there has been no response. Not a caption. Not a cryptic story. Not a radio interview. Not an emoji. Not a like. Not a whisper on a podcast. Complete lockdown. And in a culture where every single scandal generates its own reaction economy, that level of silence from Remy Ma is not a coincidence, honey. It is architecture. It is engineered. Because Remy Ma understands something Claressa Shields apparently does not. When your position is secure, you do not need to defend it publicly. When your marriage certificate is still on file, when your husband's tattoos are still on his forearm, when your name is still legally attached to his, you do not need to caption your existence. Your existence captions itself. And every time Claressa Shields posts another matching outfit carousel, Remy Ma's silence gets louder. Because the internet is not stupid, and the internet knows that in a real love triangle, only one woman ever has the luxury of not responding. And that woman is always the one holding the paperwork. Cultural evidence piece number 4, Claressa Shields' own reported behavior in the DMs. Because according to publicly circulated screenshots, Claressa Shields reportedly slid into a random fan's Instagram DMs to argue with them for simply mentioning Remy Ma's name in a comment. Let that sink in for a full second. A world champion boxer, a decorated Olympic gold medalist, one of the most successful female athletes in the sport's history, went into an anonymous stranger's private messages to defend her relationship. Baby, unbothered women do not do that. Secure women do not do that. Women who feel like their position is safe do not spend energy hunting down anonymous commenters to correct the record. That defensive energy is the loudest confession in this entire story because it tells us exactly how the situation feels from the inside, regardless of what the captions on the outside are trying to sell. Cultural evidence piece number 5. Because there is more here than most people realize, the tattoos. Papoose's tattoos dedicated to Remy Ma are reportedly still visible on his body in every recent photograph that circulates online. Not covered, not modified, not lasered. Still there. Still readable. Still telling anybody with a camera lens exactly whose name he chose to permanently mark himself with. And I know, the Claressa Shields defenders in the comments are already typing, tattoos take time to remove. Tattoos are expensive to cover. Tattoos do not necessarily mean anything. And honey, I hear you. I acknowledge the counter-argument. But let me dismantle it in real time. In 18 months of public relationship rollout, in a period where Papoose has appeared at high-profile events, sat for professional photo shoots, and coordinated dozens of image-conscious posts with a woman who is very clearly image-conscious herself, there has been more than enough time and more than enough motivation to at least begin the process of removing or covering those tattoos. And he has not. And in a business where image is currency, that choice is the choice. It is not laziness. It is not budget. It is a signal. And Mama Mitchell, sitting in her silence, is reading that signal loud and clear. And now, honey, now we need to shift gears entirely because everything we just walked through, the suite, the tag order, the follow lists, the tattoos, the defensive DMs, all of that is still just the surface of the surface. The real story, the story that changes how you should be reading every single frame of this saga, is not a relationship story. It is a system story. And that is where we are going next. Because this stopped being about a couple a long time ago, baby. And now we need to talk about the machinery underneath the whole thing. Systemic angle number 1, the media rollout apparatus. Every single major Claressa Shields and Papoose relationship milestone has reportedly been announced first through Claressa Shields' platform. Every confirmation, every appearance, every caption, every declaration of exclusivity, couple-dom, or belonging. She drives the narrative. She controls the release calendar. She sets the pace, the tone, and the framing. And Papoose, honey. Papoose appears in her content the way a supporting actor appears in a lead performer's presser. Present, but passive. Tagged, but never tagging first with the same intensity. Featured, but never featuring back with equal frequency or equal warmth. That asymmetry is not incidental. In the media economy of modern celebrity relationships, asymmetric posting patterns are one of the most reliable indicators of a manufactured narrative. Because real partnerships, honey, have bilateral posting. Real love shows up on both feeds with roughly equal enthusiasm. Real symmetry is not choreographed. It emerges naturally. And when one partner is running a full-scale visibility campaign, while the other is quietly turning up in the background, looking like he wandered into the wrong photo shoot, the media ecosystem itself is telling you exactly what kind of relationship you are looking at. It is not gossip. It is metadata. It is measurable. It is engineered. And it is being executed on one side of the couple with the discipline of a publicist, and on the other side with the reluctance of a hostage. Systemic angle number 2. The brand ecosystem consequences. Because we have to talk about what this Mother's Day performance is doing to Claressa Shields' actual brand infrastructure. And it is not pretty. Claressa Shields is not just an athlete. She is a business. She has endorsement contracts, brand partnerships, licensing deals, and a public image that has taken over a decade of championship-level work to build. She broke barriers in a sport that underpaid women for decades. She carried Olympic gold. She headlined pay-per-view cards. And in the modern athlete economy, that brand infrastructure is worth millions of dollars in current and future revenue. Now, watch what has happened to the search engine footprint of her name over the last 18 months. Once dominated by championship headlines, historic athletic milestones, and legacy features in serious sports publications, her name is now algorithmically braided together with words like drama, controversy, home wrecker allegations, family conflict, and Mother's Day carousel discourse. The algorithm archives these cycles permanently. Every future brand deal negotiation, every future fight promotion, every future retrospective on her career now has to compete against a wall of relationship content that did not exist 2 years ago. The people who own her brand infrastructure are watching this in real time. The sponsors, the promoters, the networks, the licensing partners, they are all watching. And that Mother's Day weekend, whether Claressa Shields realizes it or not, was not just a family event. It was a brand event. And the brand event did not perform well. Systemic angle number 3, the legal architecture that is quietly running underneath this entire performance. Because here is the piece nobody wants to say out loud. As of 2026, the divorce between Papoose and Remy is reportedly still not legally finalized on the public record. Not filed with finality. Not closed. Not sealed. Which means that in the eyes of the law, in the eyes of the state, in the eyes of every legal document that actually determines property, inheritance, and marital status, Remy is still Papoose's wife. Not his ex-wife. Not his former partner. His wife. And every single Mother's Day carousel, every matching outfit, every family caption is being posted against the backdrop of an unfinalized marriage that is still, legally speaking, very much alive. Baby, in most cultures on planet Earth, that is not a fashion statement. That is a legal exposure. And the fact that this legal exposure has been allowed to persist for this long, unresolved, unaddressed publicly, is itself the loudest piece of evidence in the entire case. Because when two people are genuinely committed to building a new legal life together, they close the previous legal life first. They file. They finalize. They notarize. They move on with clean paperwork. And when they do not, when the paperwork stays open for 18 unbroken months, while the new relationship is being marketed at album drop intensity, that is not an oversight. That is a signal. It is a signal that somebody, somewhere in this ecosystem, is not ready to close what is still legally open. And Mama Mitchell, honey, Mama Mitchell knows this. Mama Mitchell has always known this. Because a mother who has watched her son go through a real marriage, through a real prison sentence, through a real 15-year commitment, does not confuse a coordinated Instagram rollout with a legally binding new life. And the fact that she has said nothing, done nothing, liked nothing, followed nothing, for 18 straight months is not a coincidence. It is her reading the legal reality of the situation more accurately than the entire internet combined. Systemic angle number 4. Because we cannot leave without this, the manufactured narrative ecosystem itself. What we are watching, baby, is a live case study in what happens when a public figure attempts to compress the timeline of an actual relationship into the timeline of a media campaign. Real relationships grow at biological speed. Media campaigns grow at algorithmic speed. And when a celebrity attempts to force a real relationship onto an algorithmic timeline, the seams show. The captions show them. The tag order shows them. The mother's silence shows them. The unfinalized paperwork shows them. And the internet, which has been trained by a decade of watching manufactured storylines collapse, has learned to spot those seams from a mile away. And here is where we have to say the loudest, most damaging truth in this entire video. Because everything we have walked through has been building to this single reveal. Mama Mitchell's silence is not silence. It is the verdict. And the verdict is that Claressa Shields has been, according to every publicly visible signal that Papoose's biological family has broadcast for 18 consecutive months, quietly and consistently unrecognized as a member of that family. Not casually unrecognized. Not accidentally unrecognized. Systematically unrecognized. And I want you to understand exactly what that means, because it is the single most devastating consequence of everything we have laid out tonight. Mama Mitchell is not a peripheral figure. She is the woman who watched Remy Ma marry her son over a prison telephone. She is the woman who watched Remy Ma hold her son down through a 6-year prison sentence, without cameras, without publicists, without a single coordinated post to prove it. She is the woman who saw what genuine devotion actually looks like when there is no audience in the room, no reel to record, no caption to pre-draft. And when a woman with that specific reference point in her own life spends 18 unbroken months refusing to publicly acknowledge, welcome, or engage with the person her son is parading through matching outfit carousels, that woman is not being shy. She is delivering a verdict. And the verdict, baby, is that the woman who marries her son on camera in front of the world, without paperwork, without finalization, without her blessing, is not the woman she considers her son's real partner. That is the truth bomb. That is the entire story compressed into a single sentence. And the reason it is so devastating is that Claressa Shields. But listen, honey, we are nowhere near done with this saga. Because everything we walk through tonight is only the beginning of what is coming down this timeline in the next few weeks. There are at least 2 specific developments I need you tracking right now. Because if you miss either of them, you are going to be lost when the next chapter drops. Development number 1, the divorce paperwork itself. Because sources close to the situation have been reportedly signaling that movement on the legal finalization is coming. And when that filing actually hits the public record, whether it closes in Remy Ma's favor or drags out further, the entire complexion of this storyline shifts overnight. That filing is going to answer questions that 18 months of Instagram captions could not touch. Development number 2, Mama Mitchell's silence itself. Because verdicts delivered in silence are still verdicts, but at some point in this saga, that woman is going to be asked a direct question by a camera she cannot avoid. And when she answers it, whatever she says or refuses to say is going to become the single most clipped moment of the entire storyline. I want you subscribed and on notifications for the moment that happens, because Tea with Stella is going to be the first place breaking down what her words actually mean the second she speaks them. And listen, if you have made it all the way to this point in the video, you are amazing. And I need you in the group chat for what is coming next. Drop your take in the comments. Do you think Mama Mitchell will ever publicly acknowledge Claressa Shields? Or is her silence the final answer written in permanent ink? Do you think Papoose is going to file that finalized paperwork before the end of the year? Or is he going to let it stay open for another 18 months? Do you think Remy Ma has already won this entire storyline without ever entering the ring? Tag a friend who needs to see this pour. Because next up on this channel, honey, we're digging into the leaked screenshot that has the entire hip-hop internet whispering. The one that names a specific industry figure who was allegedly in the room during a conversation that changes everything you thought you knew about how this Claressa Shields and Papoose situation actually started. That video is already brewing. The receipts are already stacked. And when I tell you the name on that screenshot is going to break your entire understanding of this saga. Baby, I mean it. Click through the second this one ends. Do not close the tab. Do not scroll away. Because some verdicts arrive in words, some verdicts arrive in press releases, and some verdicts arrive wrapped in silence, sealed with a mother's refusal to speak, and delivered on the most sacred family holiday of the year. Mama Mitchell delivered hers this weekend. And the next verdict, honey, is already loading. Stay thirsty. Stay curious. And whatever you do, do not forget the receipts.